Welcome everybody. Now, I'm not gonna make this too long because I'm not so good with words. All right. So, what do we think about the F&B industry currently? What do we think about when we go out and eat? You know, if people who are staying in Kota Damansara, where do you guys go to eat? So this is the question that we ask ourselves today. But before asking ourselves what's next, we gotta look before what happened before in cuisine. Now, how did cuisine originated? It originated in many regions of the world. Like for example, in France, it originated in the 19th century, which is called Grand Cuisine. It then modernized into Nouvelle Cuisine, which is more lighter and the presentation's a lot more cleaner. And then we move on to a more healthier option, which is the modernist cuisine, a more lighter and healthier option for the human diet. As we evolve, cuisine evolves as well. And so does our eating habits and our eating trends. As you can see, the way we eat before and the way we eat now, there's a tremendous difference. We used to eat, back then, people used to eat in luxury. And when they eat with their family members or close friends. It was a time to bond, a time to share. Right now, it's more of a convenience, don't you think? Drive-thrus in Starbucks, drive-thrus in McDonald's. We just eat to fill our tummies. It's not like how it used to be before. But it's the trend now. Humans are evolving every day, and so is the cuisine we eat. As we look now, where you dine in a restaurant, there's classifications, bistros, pubs, fine dining, yada yada, all right? And I basically don't like all these classifications, but I call my restaurant a restaurant and bar because it's by law. And if we look at the cuisine that we serve in a bar, what do you see? You see alcohol, you see finger food. And when you go to bistros, you see like Alexis. And when you go to fast food, you go McDonald's, KFC. Back then, there were no such thing as classifications. There was just a cookery, a house where people come in, pay whatever amount they want, and they eat. It's like a soup kitchen. You see how the restaurants evolve. Now, let's talk about the human eating habit. We used to eat with our eyes first. You know, you see the food, it's like, oh, the presentation is amazing. But nowadays, we spend about 15 minutes letting our phones eat first. And then you guys complain that the food is cold. Okay? And it is the culture right now to embed the Instagrammable worthy food into our lifestyle. And we as chefs have to adapt to that culture, making our food presentable in the prettiest way possible. And moving on with cuisine. Now, the breakthrough of cuisine happened in the year of 2000 when Ferran Adria introduced molecular gastronomy. It's where you infuse chemical, biological, and physical science into your food. And you give birth to Michelin star restaurants like Alinea, El Bulli, and in Thailand you can notably restaurants like Nandan and Gagan. So I know you guys haven't heard of these restaurants before. It's mostly in the Michelin guides. You guys can pick it up actually in Singapore and stuff like that. They have just been awarded Michelin star as well. And what Michelin actually means is that it grades you on your consistency, it grades you on the stature of your restaurant, it grades you on your grade of your food. And recently, Michelin has awarded a hawker store a Michelin star. Do you see where the change has begun in the F&B industry? The Michelin has been used as a marketing tool, no more a statue of high value for chefs. People pay money to get Michelin stars. That is the way it is now. So we as chefs have considered many ways, asking ourselves, is Michelin the way to go now? Or is there any other things that we can base on that, you know, chefs can get their rankings? I believe not. In my own view, I'm not a competitive chef. I think what most chefs like to do is like, hey, you know, I think I can cook better than you. But I think every chef has a different cooking style, different opinion, different experience. So he will suit different palates. I can say that, you know, I cannot please everybody. Maybe just about 70% of my customers. And that is how it is. We can't please everybody. And that is what the chefs of the world need to understand. Perfection is not something where, hey, you know, I can make everybody love my food. But it's rather whether you can share your experience with the people you cook for. And the way we see chefs nowadays, especially in Malaysia, you go to restaurants and what do you find? You find foreigners cooking your food. The HR ministry has implemented recently that, you know, there should be no foreigners in the kitchen. And that has basically punctured a big hole in the F&B industry in Malaysia. And how has that affected us? Basically, in a business sense, we have to pay a lot higher for local people. But in a good way, it gives us more job opportunities for the people on the East Coast. So I can see where Malaysia is heading next in the F&B industry. But currently now, it's still a very gray area of where we are actually heading in our fine dining as well. Michelin has crossed through Thailand, has crossed through Singapore, but they have not spoke about Malaysia, and that's a big letdown. So what we are trying to do as chefs in Malaysia is trying to understand where did we go wrong? How did we limit ourselves to our position to where we are? And we have to ask ourselves whether did we really follow the trend of the market that we see out there? Did we execute it properly? I came back to Malaysia believing that I could change the market by opening my first restaurant called Gastro Bar. I introduced menus that I've seen overseas, more sustainable food towards farm to table, which I had a farm in Banting. The restaurant see its business soared for the first 6 months, and after that, the following 6 months was pretty bad. So I decided to close it down after a year because Malaysia was not ready for that type of cuisine. I serve things like crickets on the menu. I serve modernist cuisine where you plate the food on the table. I serve farm-to-table cuisine where the customers will pick ingredients from our farm and then we will cook it for them. Now, this concept was a tad expensive, so it's where customers wouldn't be comfortable to come in and pay for that type of food. But what I was trying to introduce was the food that we all can be proud of in the future as chefs. Food that we can sustain, food that we can provide to the consumers. You know, we as consumers, we are basically taking in more than what we can. We are overusing our water usage, our electricity, and our food. The amount of wastage that goes out it's pretty sad. In the restaurants, I mean, you guys pay for the food. I don't understand why you guys want to take it away or, you know, eat it. You guys just throw it away. My dishwasher is constantly throwing food away. So that's kind of sad. But put that aside. How do we move forward from this? Now, what I think about what's next for the F&B industry is what we do right now. How we consumers and chefs can work together. You know, by bringing up, firstly, Malaysia's standard of dining. You know, have you seen Raj's Banana House, the recent craze on social media? Is that the kind of standard you guys want? Because that's the kind of standard you guys pay for. If you guys, I understand the economy is really bad, but I always encourage my friends, spend a little more to get decent food. If you guys are happy with your local kopitiams and local cafes, make sure they are trusted and they are clean, then by all means. But please be aware and be mindful of what you eat nowadays because things are not really good looking at the back end scene. Because I've been around. I've been consulting for about 3 years now, fixing many restaurants' problem. And the most problems that they face is that their menu trends phase out so fast. They cannot keep up with the Malaysian needs for a new trend. And basically the foreign workers that we hire don't have the skills to execute that. And the students that we produce in culinary schools in Malaysia, they are not around. Either that or they are changing their profession because the F&B life in Malaysia is just too rigorous. It's filled with foreign workers that will pull you down, that will, you know, make you feel like you are not needed there. So this is why I encourage us as consumers and as chefs, we need to start working together to start seeing where we can improve our Malaysian dining, our Malaysian cuisine. Because we have so many cultures like the Chinese cultures and Indian culture. How we can blend that into one single cuisine. Now, that's what I want to see what's next. And a chef that is doing that is called Darren Chin. And also, if you guys heard of Darren Teo, I think he's one of your KDU chefs in KDU's culinary school. He's infusing that Malaysian international cuisine in his restaurant called Dewakan. So these are what I see happening next for Malaysia, but it's still a very great area for me, and I hope that we can work together as consumers and chefs. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Justin. Chef Justin will now be doing a demonstration on a professional's guide to making the perfectly cooked eggs.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do we understand about the egg? No, the chicken did not come first, actually, because I don't really know what came first, so I can't give you the answer. Well, an egg is where a form of liquid is encased around something hard, or rather, it's something beautiful. An egg, basically, in a chef's sense, is an epitome of how you can cook. Now, why do I say this? To cook a perfect egg, it takes many years of training. It also takes many years of understanding what the structure of an egg is. Your first layer is calcium carbonate, which fills up the shell. You go in there, you get your egg white, which is your amino acids or your collagen. All right, now this protein encases it around the yolk, which is basically fat and good cholesterol, HDL. Now, don't go thinking that yolks are bad. Yolks are amazing and it's good for your body, so start eating your yolks. All right, for gym builders, bodybuilders, yolks are amazing as well. So please include that in your diet, stop throwing it in the bin. All right, so I'll be showing you guys how to make a perfect scrambled egg, a perfect French omelette, and a perfect poached egg. Now, how do you guys choose a perfect egg or an egg that's fresh? It's pretty easy. Just dump it into water. And if you see it sink, it's fresh. If you see it floats, it's not fresh because it has developed air bubbles in there, so it starts floating. All right? All right, so how to make a perfect scrambled egg? Now, I would like to start with a medium hot pan. And what you do is you just add a little oil onto it. Start off with 2 eggs. Now, I would like to crack this when the pan is still cold. Why do I do this? It's because it won't start coagulating before I can mix the yolk into the whites. Now, as the mixture heats up, as it coagulates, you add your milk, not cream, because cream has unnecessary fats. Now, as you can see, it looks pretty much like porridge right here. So as you see the bubbles start thickening, immediately turn off the heat. Once that is done, the pan gradually still heats up, and it still cooks. Just keep stirring it around. And there you have your perfectly creamy scrambled eggs.